Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves confronted by a grave quandary within the confines of our beloved Canada. A predicament not limited to our locale, but one that spans the globe. The crux of the matter lies in a lamentable dearth of virtuous leadership. Behold the arbiters of decisions, and what do we perceive? Leaders ill-suited for their charge, devious, elusive, resorting to any stratagem to grasp at the reins of power. And for what purpose, one might ask? To line their own purses, that's the crux of the matter. This predicament is no novelty. Its origins track back to the days of Agamemnon and Briseis. Recall the tale in Homer's Iliad, where the priest implores the release of his abducted daughter, yet Agamemnon, self-styled the King of Kings, adamantly refuses. Even when a plague afflicts the Greeks, brought on by Apollo, who is the patron god of Briseis, he remains unmoved. Why, you ask? For he claims the girl is his rightful spoils, a conqueror's entitlement. Does this ring a familiar note? Leap forward now to our present epoch. We find contemporary Agamemnons perpetrating suffering for their own personal gain all around the earth. Witness the turmoil in Ukraine, the governance in Israel, and the militant leaders among the Palestinians. It is a global epidemic reminiscent of Agamemnon, and we must denounce it. Allow me to expand. We often bandy about the term tyrant with abandon in political discourse. Yet there are incidences where it transcends mere nomenclature, where it embodies reality. For instance, Vladimir Putin, a figure who presides over Russia with unwavering authority. But let's be candid, he is no conventional statesman. His vision of Russia does not harken back to Soviet times or some utopian communist vision. No, he revels in opulence, reminiscent of the old Romanovs, with sumptuous houses and swift cars for mere conveyance. Herein lies the crux. He peddles a dream to the deeply traditional Russian populace, a dream that remains elusive. His vision of Russia exudes a macho hunter-gatherer ethos, interwoven with Christian narratives and a sprinkle of Russian epic tales akin to those from a Rimsky-Korsakov opera. Yet, let me be clear, this Russia he portrays is a figment of the imagination. It's not grounded in reality. The recent incursion into Ukraine? Merely another chapter in this fantastical narrative. Consider the literary artists that the new Russian arts venerate. Gogol, Pushkin, Shui. A discernible theme emerges. They are all anti-authoritarian, champions of rural life. The quandary, however, lies in Russia's evolution since the Soviet era. It is now an industrial powerhouse yearning for economic autonomy. Putin's lifestyle necessitates it, yet, paradoxically, he pursues his vision of success at the expense of modern-day serfs, living a fallacy that bestows more agony than solace upon the Russian populace. It is as if Putin is emulating the Agamemnon playbook, a spectacle unworthy of applause. Let us divert our attention momentarily to Benjamin Netanyahu, a leader with right-leaning inclination, some would argue undeserving of any acclaim that he has received. Unlike securing a resounding majority vote, Netanyahu clings to power through parliamentary machinations, forming alliances with diverse right-wing factions to secure majorities. However, these far-right inclinations, particularly concerning land control in Israel, do not necessarily align with the majority of Israelis' desires. They prioritize security and peace. Netanyahu's policies, on the other hand, including forced settlements and land appropriations, often serve corporate interests more than the average Israeli settler. The primary beneficiaries? The ruling elite in Israel, encompassing Likud and other far-right factions. Now, transitioning to the Palestinian leadership, since 1948, their stance has frequently revolved around eradicating Israel from the geopolitical map, a proposition rendered impractical by Israel's entrenched presence as a key player in the global technological landscape. Despite proposals for land treaties offering substantial territory to Palestinians, some leaders steadfastly reject these accords solely because Israel exists, and that it persists to exist. This unyielding approach proves detrimental to the Palestinian populace. Financial backing from Iran flows towards the Palestinian Authority and the militant echelons of Hamas, while proponents of two-state solutions struggle to secure financial support. It is a scenario where rigid Islamic dogmas serve to help the vested interests of those in power, leaving the masses in dire straits and often dying. In essence, the world's leadership finds itself ensnared in a tide of self-interest, redolent of the era of Agamemnon. It constitutes a labyrinth-like network where political decisions redound to the advantage of a select few, while the multitudes bear the brunt of the consequences. And how was Agamemnon handled? Achilles told him to his face that he was selfish. Perhaps we need to do more of that.